Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. This is our 35th year of providing LGBT stories from around the world. Our programming this year has been amazing. Thank you all for watching. Our shorts programs are always stellar, and one of our most popular this year has been our Everything Under the Rainbow shorts, which we showed in person Friday, September 23rd, and now it is streaming until October 9th, and the reception to the films has been amazing. So it's my pleasure to welcome some of the filmmakers of these films who will talk a little bit about their stories. So thank you all for joining us. I guess my first question is, if each of you could just tell us who you are and the name of your film.
Hi, my name is Gupta. I'm the director and co-writer of Coming Out with the Help of a Time Machine.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ragharum Shetty. I am one of the leads, rather I play the father's role in Coming Out with the Help of Time Machine.
Great, thank you.
I'm Beyonce. No. I am her. No, my name is Tory Devon Smith. I am the creator, executive producer, the writer, and lead actor of the film, The Baldwin Archives.
Okay. Adamu. I am the director, producer, and all the stuff for body language.
Great. Thank you all for joining us today. Just tell us a little bit about your films, the journey to get it made, and how personal these stories are to you all.
So Coming Out with the Help of a Time Machine, as the name suggests, it's kind of the log line as well. It's about an Indian guy trying to come out to his conservative parents with the help of his time machine. And I started the script with my writing partner during pandemic. And I just moved to LA. I just wanted to make a small film so that I can kind of meet the team here and start building relationships. And then the script ended up winning the Tasveer Film Fund, which is sponsored by Netflix now. And once we got that, then we got some other good actors attached and some producers attached. And from there, yeah, it's been a pretty awesome journey so far.
Great.
As an actor, a lot of time I say that I don't really act. I just use my experience from the life, 360-degree view of the life. That being said, growing up, I saw one of the primary challenge facing the LGBT community is the communication. So when I looked at the script, I fell in love with it right away, because many of those dialogues are coming from my own heart. So I have many hobbies. One of the things that I do is counseling, as a yogi, as an hypnotist, and so many things that I try to help people, outside of my IT and acting world. And I saw a lot of time, so many issues springing up, mainly because of the communication. So here, this was representing exactly what I was looking for. And also, when you look at the overall script, it brings in quite a few dimensions of the life. Back in India, having used to some of the very advanced independent theaters, one of the interests is always to hit the audience as much as possible. That means all the diverse audience. We call navarasas, 9 different emotions or the expressions that should be exhibited as an actor. And this was bringing in comedy, this is bringing in sorrow, this is bringing in all kinds of different tastes that we could talk about, or the emotions that we could talk about. So that really gave me a big reason why I right away jumped on it.
Thank you.
So the Baldwin Archives is a reenactment of an interview that James Baldwin gave back in 1963. As an actor myself, years ago, I was looking for a piece, basically a performance piece. And I was also inspired to do my own work, but I wanted to find an interesting subject matter. You know, when you're a working actor, you're auditioning for roles where your heart's not necessarily connected to. I'm also from the theater. So much of theater work as an actor, it's dense work. I mean, it moves you, it's complex and all of that.
Yeah.
And then also too, we were in the realm of the Trump era. So we were and I was talking to the director about this, Laura C. We would have conversations about the need for empathy because he was not executing that for the nation. You know what I mean? The president is sort of the moral example for the country. And there was just so much happening. And sure, vanity sort of started this, I suppose. But then when I actually, in a sense, chose James Baldwin as subject matter, and then to study the philosophy of this really grand man from the past. I mean, when you think about James Baldwin, not only what he did in terms of Black voices way back when, but also when you think about the gay liberation movement, I mean, he started that years ago by writing about gay characters before it was even appropriate in a sense. I mean, he is one of the most fascinating figures I've ever researched. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, great.
For me, I had just gotten the green light for a project series. And based on many things, it took months. And right when we were about like maybe 2 days before we were about to sign everything, New York shut down with the pandemic. And it was like, oh, okay. So then I had another opportunity during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that weekend, everything was great. And then we were going to do everything the following Tuesday.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of the heavy Black Lives Matter protesting.
Yes.
So then priorities shifted again. So I said, you know what, if you want to do anything, you're just going to have to do it yourself. So I started, producing virtual content, which led me into a documentary cohort. And I was working on one film for 13 weeks. It was a 15-week cohort. Something happened the 13th week. I had to do a different film. And so I had 2 weeks. And I went to lunch and the idea came to me to do body language. And just everyone I talked to was like, oh my God, yeah, of course I'd be involved. And we rolled it out, completed January 2022.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sam.
And some of you have sort of already answered this, but tell me a little bit about your festival run and what it's like to see this film with an audience, especially since, for much of the last 2 years, most of our viewing has been online. What's it like? Where's your film been? And what's it like seeing the film and experiencing with an audience?
So we have been getting a lot of love during festival run. We have been in, I think, around 55 festivals so far, including, yours out on film, the best.
Yes.
Tribeca, Cam, so pretty much mostly all over US, but also all over the world, India, Europe. And the ones that I've attended, it's so weird. Like as a filmmaker, you're like, oh, I want to make this film so that people can relate and this, that. You're thinking all that. But to see that happening when you actually watch it with such diverse group of people that you would never think, oh, these people actually, number one, got this, and second, they were into it, they can relate to it. That was like in Tribeca, I had these punk guys come up to me and my lead actress, and they're telling us their own story, how it relates to ours. And I was like, wow, I would have never thought like these, they would relate to my film. And then I went to San Diego a few weeks ago, similar, the most different audience I could imagine. And I was telling my friend, oh, this will be interesting. But from the get-go, they got all the jokes and then they were crying and stuff. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So it's just been almost kind of like, it kind of validates that as a filmmaker, yes, you can make difference. You can make a difference, and you can, people will, like, at the end of the day, it is all about, all humans are kind of, when it comes down to that core values, we are all kind of same, and we all relate to, we feel the same pain, we feel the same sorrow. So it's been super amazing.
Nice. Great.
I'm echoing the same thing that Naman said in every word. I was in Tribeca Film Festival, and a lot of folks came to me and hugged me for a long time, cried. And then they said, you made us cry. And
Wow, that's
I said, that's all an actor, that's the feedback that an actor, really wants. And I told them again, I cried literally. And so it's funny, Naman may recall that we were shooting this, I was literally crying, and everybody else was crying as well, even though the crew is supposed to be shooting, but they felt that love. And then and I suddenly got up and then took a selfie, and then everybody laughed and said, what are you doing? So, but we are actors, but at the same time, deep down, we are, trying to put ourselves on the everybody else's shoe on whatever character that we are acting. And as I said, I had tons of experience that could come instantly to me, and then I could bust out in a cry, in sorrow, in sobbing. But also I had an opportunity to introduce a film in Long Beach, and where my whole family was there, and then everybody was recording the responses from the audience. Every single, every, if not a second, if every minute, they were laughing and all, and then they thought, oh, okay, the people are laughing, and at the end, they were all crying, sobbing, and then we caught that on the camera, at least the audio, and it's mesmerizing. So I think that's where it speaks up, as a director for Naman, as I've worked with the writers, and then as a whole thing that coming together, and then touching upon, especially the South Asian, community, really felt it. A lot of people, who won't express that they are LGBT would come out, during those films, and approach me and talk to me and so forth. It's such a great experience that, and then so much satisfying. Right? That I'm glad that I did this one. I'm able to connect to this, in the community so well. So it's really a very nice experience.
You go through this process, something I've never been through before, applying for film festivals and all of this. And I think, my gosh, you submit to so many, and you feel as if no one's going to care, because there was a lot of rejections that come, for a variety of reasons. So you become simply grateful when a festival actually accepts your film. There's validation in that, which is really wonderful. And it's interesting. I had such confidence in the film itself. It's particularly because, I adapted the screenplay, but it's James Baldwin's words, and he's talking about the plight of racism in America. But the main thesis of this is compassion for your fellow human being. That's something that really resonated with me. Yeah. And so, and also too, the visionary that is Laura C., the director, John Orphan, our cinematography. This is a very simple film. It's just two men talking in a room. Yeah. And you're sort of afraid, like, it's not entertaining enough. But Laura said something so wonderful to me. She said, the conversation is the compelling narrative. So to sit there with an audience, and it was at Outfest that I first sat with an audience, and it was so wonderful to hear people in the audience go, that's right, to what he is saying, and then to receive certain adulation afterwards from people who watched the film, who, in a sense, and I guess I did my job correctly as an actor, to notice how reserved he had to be back then, to sort of combat the microaggressions that this other man is sort of bringing to him. We now know what that means. The poise, the dignity James had to have, including all who were discriminated against back then. You had to deal with it in a very particular way in order to survive. So for people to understand that and be invigorated by it is really exciting. This is when the work is more than you. You know what I mean? I want to work that way for the rest of my life. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'll be honest. Again, I said, okay, this is a class project. I'm making the film and I'm going to be done. And it was, so part of our process was it actually was screened, it was like an invited group of people, and it was screened over network. And just from the reaction, I said, maybe I'll apply for some festivals. And I'll be honest, I said, if it's in 10 festivals, I'll be fine. So I'll apply for 15. And I knew somehow or another in that 15, but the beauty was, I said the first one I wanted to be in was Inside Out in Toronto. I wanted it to premiere there because I love Toronto and I go to Toronto. So that just meant a lot to me. So I focused on that. It passed the deadline. I wrote them an email. They said, please submit. I did. It premiered there. And I actually won their Pitch Please award for my next project. So I was like, bet. And then in the US, I wanted it to premiere at Black Star because it's not a queer festival. And it was really important for me to show this film to a Black audience. So I said, okay. And it's in Philly. I'm from Philly. I'm like, yeah, this has got to happen. It premiered in the US at Black Star. So I was like, good. I know Out on Film was one I would like. Basically, I got almost all the ones I wanted except for 2. So we're at 9 right now. We have a few more coming at the end of the year. But I also made a decision that, and it's kind of how my mind works, and I'm not necessarily interested in keeping it running in the 2023. Yeah. I feel like this story, it's a new year. I'm ready to do something new. So I kind of know we'll probably wrap things up. I'm actually curating a Black queer film experience that's going to bring together like shorts and emerging filmmakers, boom, boom, boom. So that'll be in February. So there's a couple other plans. And then we have like 5 cities coming up that I know about. So yeah, it's doing this thing. I'm happy.
Yeah, nice. All right, final question. Can you talk about representation and why it matters to have LGBTQ directors telling LGBTQ stories and why it's important to have these positive portrayals?
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, I mean, it is about, I feel part of the reason is like just the communication, as Ragharum said. A lot of people, they are not aware of the others and instinctively they are against them. At least that's how I feel for most part. So just putting stuff out there and like humanizing it and people realizing, oh, these are people just like you and me, you know, what they do in their personal life or how they feel. Just because I don't understand doesn't mean I have to be against them. And to me, like at the end of the day, coming out with the help of Time Machine is about family and acceptance. And I think that's where it is. That's where, you know, that's where I think the synergy of humanity is. And the more we can make it like, you know, we're all the same people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter our sexuality. It doesn't matter, you know, our nationality and stuff. We are all humans, you know, that's what matters. So to me, yeah, I think like the more films like this that come out, and I totally agree with Odu as well. Like I wanted my film to be shown more than in, you know, LGBTQ festivals, because I was like, yeah, I want everyone to see it, you know, as many people as possible. So yeah, I think that's why it's important, and I think a lot of great work is coming out. So yeah, happy for that.
Thank you.
Exactly. You know, growing up, I had a lot of interest for the you know, history, the scriptures, and all things. You know, the India being one of the major economies of the past, seen a lot of ups and downs, and then comes the invasions. The society was suppressed. And then I could really see, you know, the challenges around the LGBT community. And a lot of time people will say, this is not our culture, this is not our this. And I used to ask people like, what culture you're talking about? Are you talking about the ancient days culture or a suppressed culture, or what kind of things? Because I knew there's a lot in our history, like ancient history is dating back to 5,000, 15,000 years back. There are certain great, you know, figures whom people regard as godly figures. Had like for one of those guy was raised by 2 LGBTs. I mean, going to that depth. So what I meant is that this problem was there all the time. It's just that when the society is developed, there's an opportunity for us to start expressing it, because we do a lot of plays, theaters, and so forth, right? So, and I have this background in some of these very advanced theaters that go on all night, that where we don't write the dialogues, everything is improv, and then we get an opportunity as an actor to express the depth, scholarly depth I have, and so forth. This is a dance drama. We keep the whole crowd, whether it's 5,000 or 50,000, engaged all night. But what I'm saying is that I'm trying to express is that we need to understand that everyone have different emotions. They come from different backgrounds, and then this movies give us an expression, so that people can relate. At the same time, this is an ongoing issue, right? The society has come up, or in a certain way, they have certain views, the trends change. Our idea is always not to promote anything, right? Is that this is how it is, as is. So we try to represent the stories as is.
Mhm.
It is going to help both in terms of the communication from the parents and the kids' perspective, and from the society's perspective. And I think this is a great way to express. Thank you.
Great.
I think it's, representation is really, really important because, when it comes to people of color, when it comes to queer people, our stories have been told for us, right?
Mhm.
Therefore, creating these really detrimental stereotypes and these inflictions upon our community that affects us in ways that are completely unfair. If we are not central to our stories, then those distinctive elements that are authentically, for us will not be expressed in the correct way. We always have to be central. Representation is so important. And also too, if we live in a world where Black people are stifled from voting in this country, the US or Roe versus Wade, this is a terrible regression, then we have to continue to tell these stories because we're normal and our rights it's still not equal in the world. There are places in the world where it is illegal to still be gay. Well, then we have to continue to tell these stories until that doesn't happen anymore, right?
Exactly.
That's why representation is important. Our lives are at stake.
Thank you.
I would say for me, so I'm 55. So I grew up kind of watching Black cinema that had a definition of gayness. And then I would see gay cinema that had a definition of Blackness.
Okay.
And I felt all of these things were very off. And then I would see gay Black cinema that one or twice, and whatever, and say, okay, and that's still not enough. So when I think about representation, and why I work in the doc space, and I think storytelling is so important, is the more we show, the more people understand, the more of us it is, and that we're not a monolith. Because we even fall into that in our own community. It's so easy to tell a queer story if you have this character, wearing this outfit. In the 70s, every queer film had a leather bar scene. So we always say, oh, okay, it's a gay movie because here's the leather bar scene and the daddy, or that's a gay character, those types of things. So we have to show, oh, we're different. And then not just that we have different experiences. I mean, I chose to do a film at the end of the day on body image and experience because that's just something I hadn't seen talked about in mainstream community about men, and even in queer community on film. So I said, and that's a real thing. I mean, we're always looking at ourselves, thinking about our bodies, et cetera, just like other folks are. So I know for me and my stories, what I always hope they represent is the conversations that people are having and the experiences that people are living, and that they don't have to be sensational. That's the other thing. Like I don't always think everything has to be trauma-based, or everything has to be about the pain of this life, or the this or this that, or the over-romanticized joy of it. It is life. We live life like other people live life. And that's what I like to be represented in my work.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you all for an amazing conversation. Again, the program is Everything Under the Rainbow Shorts, which had an in-screen performance Friday, September 23rd. It is now streaming through October the 9th. If you missed it, shame on you. you still have time to watch these films and listen to this great Q&A. And also you can vote in our audience awards as well. This is an amazing shorts program. And thank you all for joining us. Naiman, Raghu, Tory, Odu, thank you so much for sharing your films with us. And thank you so much for talking to us today.
Of course.
Thank you
And
so much for having us.
Yes, and Out on Film. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you
It
so
was an
much.
incredible festival. The pieces I got to attend were phenomenal.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you so much. It was
Thank
great
you.
having you down here.
Yeah.
I hope the rest of you can come down here sometime in the very near future. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
All right,
We look
guys.
forward for that.
Thank you,
Yeah.
All
everyone.
right. Yes.
Thank you. Bye.